is Notsam Wrestling.
Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
Not for the first time on Notsam Wrestling, but for the first time in the Notsam studio.
First time here, yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the bad boy, All In's Joey Janela is here. What's the haps, man?
Nothing much. Just just a pretty wild weekend.
Kind of, yeah. Yeah, just a kind of wild weekend, just whatever. 11,000 people.
Yeah.
What's the big deal?
Same as VFW.
Yeah, it's the same. Once you're in the ring, man, it's hard to even know the difference.
It looked like 35 people to me.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure. No difference whatsoever. So I mean, I talked about this a little bit, but like, I was obviously so happy for you, and I was tweeting about it, and I let you know and everything that not only because you got to participate in All In over the weekend, but because of the spot that you got to participate in it. Like, pretty unbelievable when you look at the matches that the elite guys had, right? The Bullet Club guys, the guys that the show was kind of centered around. Cody had the NWA Championship match.
Yep.
With the whole story built in. You've got, the Bucks against Rey Mysterio and Phoenix and Bandito and that sort of Mexico and legendary representation. You've got Okada with Skrull. And then who's the guy that ends up with Hangman? But Joey Janela.
It was me.
So first of all, you found out pretty early-ish in terms of when people found out that you were booked for All In, right? I feel like you and Penelope's image popped up pretty quickly when the talent was being announced as to who was booked.
Yeah, I wanted to get spring break too out of the way and stuff, and that was all my my will and brain was going into that event. So I figured after that, I'd give Matt Jackson I'd slip into his DMs and send up a little message, and I said, hey, anywhere I can send my 8x10 and my VHS promo tape to you.
Is that what you said?
Oh, and yeah. He's like, oh, no, man, you're booked. You're good. It was like
really?
That. Yeah. I was like, oh, I just got to talk to the guys. I think you're good. And I was like, oh, okay.
Wow.
And that was it.
I guess that was just like good timing, right?
Yeah, it's just like, I was like, there's no way I'm going to get on this show. And then, I've been cool with those guys for a couple years now, but I was like, yeah, there's no way. And then he was like, yeah, you're good. You could be on the show.
That's such a good lesson about, like, if you want to do something, just saying something, right? Like,
yeah.
just say, like, hey, I want to do that show. Because, right, there are some guys that I would imagine, because it's the same in a lot of professions, that would sit there and go, like, well, of course they're going to know that I want to do All In, but they should ask me, man. They should be calling me. Don't contact the booker. Wait for the booker. But in all honesty, if it's a show that you want to be at,
I just sent them a jokingly message,
right?
And I was booked within 2 hours. It was pretty wild, to be honest.
Yeah.
And they hit me up. They said, "All right, you're good to go."
Now, what do you think that is? Because the last time, I feel like you're in a different world from the last time you did the podcast. Because, I mean, I remember the last time we talked on here, you were talking about PWG being like kind of a goal. Like, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I'd really like to do PWG.
It was that long ago?
It was a long time ago, yeah.
Jeez.
Like, you weren't close to doing PWG yet. And then pretty quickly after it, I say not close in the sense that in your head you didn't know it was coming up. Then you end up at PWG, you're doing your own shows, and that the buzz for you kind of built pretty quickly. What do you think it was that they were like, yeah, of course you can do the show?
I think it was just a combination of a lot of stuff. I know the Bucks were big fans on the way I promoted that first spring break and the second spring break. And also, I wrestled Cody at WrestlePro last year, and we had a pretty good match.
Right, I remember that.
And he became a fan of me, professionally and in the ring there, and knew I had something going for me. So it was just, I guess a combination of those things, and doing PWG every 2 months and killing it there, and just putting in hard work. You know, these guys, they're like me. They're always on Twitter, so they always see me tweeting. They always see me. You know, I'm always going somewhere. I'm always putting in a lot of work, and you know, I'm not a millionaire. You know, and this is the first time in my life I've actually had money to save, and still had money to take myself out to eat every night and eat lobster. So.
Yeah, is that a foreign concept to you to finally be in a space where you're like, wait, this isn't hand to mouth at the moment. Like, there's more money here than I need to get to live. What do I do with this extra stuff? Like,
I just throw it in the drawer. I don't
That's it.
I don't even have a bank account. I really don't. I throw it in the top drawer of my room and just.
Do you take it as needed, or do you consider it a savings account? Like, don't touch the money in the drawer. That's saved money.
No, I definitely dip my fingers in the cookie jar. If I'm going to if it's like a Sunday and I'm going down the shore, I definitely take a couple $100 out of there.
Right.
Be spending a lot of money on some liquor.
But after a gig, you'll just come home and you'll be like, you'll put the gig money in the drawer. The merch money goes in the drawer.
Yeah, after a gig now, it's like my fanny pack is just stuffed with like crumpled up money, like as unorganized. So most of the time, I don't even know how much money I make on the weekend because I don't count it.
You just throw it in the drawer before you count it?
I just throw it in my fanny pack, and then I take a handful of crumpled up money and throw it in the drawer. And that looks like $200. We're good.
And then after like 6 months, you're like, I need to see how well I'm doing. Like, is this even a good career? And you just open the drawer and you're like, all right, things are going well.
Yeah, not that bad.
Right.
I would probably have more money if I didn't didn't go out to eat every day. So.
Or if you were aware of it. Like, you'd probably have more money if you were not just crumpling it up, throwing it in a fanny pack, and then dumping it in a drawer.
Yeah, I have massive ADD, so I'm probably I have some of the worst organizational skills like you can possibly have as a human being.
Right. That's not your strong suit.
Yeah, so they took like a class of people and they were testing them to see how bad their ADD was. I'd probably be top 2.
You think so?
Maybe,
is that bad?
Probably number 1, yeah. Pretty bad.
Do you medicate it at all or
No, in elementary and high school I took Ritalin, but
not anymore.
No, after that it wasn't needed anymore.
No. Well, plus you're like, if I just be a wrestler.
That's it.
Be
a wrestler.
I can do this.
One day you'll have a drawer full of crumpled up 20s and be good to go.
Yeah, I don't see. At some point, assuming the career continues to go well, at some point you're going to need a money guy, right?
Yeah.
Or do you even you probably think in advance about your career, right? Like where you want to be, but in terms of your life, do you think about your future?
No.
Right
now I live at home with my mom still.
Really?
Yeah, she was like, she's like, I just watched you on pay-per-view this past weekend. Where the fuck is the money? Yeah. I said, I got some money in the drawer crumpled up.
Yeah, you need.
And she's like, when are you going to start paying me to live here? No, she's cool. I still live there.
I mean, dude.
29, living the dream. I still live at home.
You should. I mean, they say, like, that's the thing about the wrestler schedule is that you can, when you're successful, you can live wherever you want. This is like WWE guys that'll live in Florida or Texas or Nevada or any of those states where they can save money on taxes. You're doing that, but like 10 times as good because you're living rent free.
Yeah, I live in the same room that I did growing up with the same Steve Austin posters on the wall that were on my wall in 1998, and that's honest.
So have you had that in the last year? Have you had that sort of like, or even maybe this week, right? Because obviously All In was like a big difference maker. Like, do you have that sort of like, hey man, maybe I should start living more like a star? I got people coming up to me, wanting to buy my shirt, wanting to get a picture, or it's just not, that's not you?
No, that's not me. There was a lot of guys at the convention. They had to have Atlas security, guide them around the convention because everyone was getting just completely fucking ambushed. Mm-hmm. Me, I was just walking around, having a beer. Fans were giving me alcohol.
So that's cool.
Fans were just walking up to me, giving me $20 bills. I was just crumpling them up, throwing in my fanny pack.
They would just give you money?
They would just give us money, like, oh, thanks for doing what you do. It was real strange.
But you accepted.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want security to walk me around all the time. Free alcohol, and free money, T-shirts. People give me their People give me random fanny packs and a bunch of random.
You're like,
wrestling fans are crazy.
Yeah, you're like, I'll wear this. I'll take this. Yeah, whatever.
Absolutely. Free everything.
But if you see Janela in the street and you want to give him a fanny pack, crumple up a couple 20s, put them in there. They're good to go already.
Throw it in there. I'll probably be walking around Manhattan after this, a couple slices of pizza, bar hopping. So if you see me in the streets, you just throw a crumple 20 my way.
Yeah, you'll take it every time.
That's it.
That's amazing. That's real. Like that's real. Like people want to believe that that's how Joey Janela is living. You know what I mean?
It's the bad boy way.
Right.
That's it.
Right. You live at your mom's house, crumple up your 20s, put them in a drawer, move on to the next town, whatever you need to do.
Most of the time, mostly every other day, my girlfriend wants to murder me because that's.
She's like, we don't have to do this. You don't have to do this anymore. And you're like, yeah, I never did this because I had to.
She's kind of like a manager to me now because she like kind of organizes everything for me. Mm-hmm. Also, when I'm selling merch, like my T-shirts are just a pile of like I just throw them unorganized in a pile behind my merch table, and someone comes up, can I get a large? And then I'm digging through the pile for about 5 minutes. Oh, sorry, man, I'm gonna find one. So good thing she's there because now she'll fold the T-shirts and organize them for me, and
so it's not just like. You just have to, if you buy a Janela shirt, it's just whatever size I find, that's the one you get.
Yeah, it's like roulette. But she also she'll organize my money. If I'm in the shower, she'll go in the fanny pack and take out my money and organize it, put it in my wallet.
Figure out how much is there. That's good.
Yeah, thank God for her because I'd be fucked.
Yeah, it's kind of rare. I think a lot of guys in your position, it's difficult to find a woman that'll kind of take care of you.
Yep.
You know, but that's what you need.
I buy her enough fucking food, so.
Right. Here's why it's really dangerous, right? Because, like, 5 years ago, let's say you're 29, right? But you're where you were 5 years ago in your career. It's like, what the hell are you doing with your life? But now, because you're successful. But you're choosing, you can't, like, it's never going to change.
No.
Because if you've gotten successful with that lifestyle, what will possibly motivate you to change?
Probably nothing.
Nothing.
That's it.
It's like if somebody's in your life and they don't want to take care of you, forget about it.
That's it.
Right?
Thank God for her. She takes care of me.
Right. And
I'm doing the same thing I did 5-10 years ago, but back then I was delivering pizzas, crumpling up the single store. Now I'm crumpling up 20s for T-shirts. So,
well, that's it.
Same shit, different day, just different surroundings.
And a year from now, we'll check back in with you, and hopefully you'll be at 50s. You know what I mean? That's how you know.
50s, maybe hundreds.
Yeah. And one day it'll be WWE royalty checks that you're just crumpling up and throwing into a fanny pack.
Seriously, I have a few checks from some promoters that are like in a shoebox underneath my bed. I haven't even cashed them yet.
Then they're just sitting there?
Like, yeah, the wrestling, there's a wrestling toy company, you know.
Oh, yeah, figures. Yeah. You have a Joey Janela action figure coming.
Yeah, they sent me money in a check, and I haven't cashed it yet. It's just sitting in a shoebox underneath my bed.
When did they send it to you?
Like, seriously, like almost 2 months ago.
Yeah, and if you don't have a bank account, what do you just go to a check cashing place?
Just go to check cashing place, and I think I'm gonna throw some money down on a car next week, so I'll cash it then and just give them a bunch of crumpled up fucking bills.
Pull the drawer out of the thing
throw
and
everything, throw everything in the shoebox. And
right,
just give it to them.
Just hand them the shoebox. Like, take as much. I don't know, whatever this thing is, whatever this costs. Just take it from this box and give me what's left.
Obviously, it's the same way Biggie Smalls paid for his first
That's right.
car.
That's right. That's the way to think about it. Right? Yeah. Look, when you're successful, when you're making money, you can kind of make anything seem cool.
That's it.
Right?
Yeah.
All you got to do is figure out anybody out there that's got these lifestyles that people think are unattractive, just make money. And then it becomes the cool thing to do.
That's it. I haven't made that much money yet compared to some of these guys, but... it's pretty wild right now.
Bro, you got money in the drawer. It's not just in your pocket.
That's it. It's money in the bank, money in the drawer match.
Right.
That's going to change. If I get signed one day and I win that match, I'm going to change the suitcase to a drawer.
Yeah. You should have shirts that just say Janela's drawer. Feed Janela's drawer. Instead of feed me more, feed my drawer.
Just like money overflowing out of it. Me on my knees. Just raining on me.
So... So you find out, I mean, it takes 2 hours, a DM and a couple hours to get booked on All In. When do you find out what you're going to be doing at All In?
Man, it was maybe a month ago whenever they announced the me and Paige match, because they were throwing different matches at me for months. And I thought I was doing one thing for like 3 months. And all of a sudden, they hit me up and they're like, this is what we're doing.
And were you happy with what, ultimately, do you feel like the match that happened is the match that is the best possible thing? I mean, I can't imagine how it could have been better.
Yeah, I think that was the best possible route they could have gone with me. And, Adam Page, he's making a name for himself just like me.
Yeah.
And he is a part of the Elite. He is a part of the Bullet Club. So that's one of their boys. Mm-hmm. And I just appreciate them, thinking about me and putting me in there with him. And, we tore the house down.
You absolutely did. I mean, when do you know, when you have a match like that, like when do you know, yeah, we did it? Do you know right away, or is it when feedback starts coming in that you're like, great, it felt good, but this feedback is like, okay, yep, what I felt was what happened, or do you just know?
I think like usually with me, it's after the first spot or so, or a couple, if you have the crowd and you could just do whatever and, you have them the whole time. That's what I felt like after we hit a few dives and the crowd was up. I said, okay,
were there
off
any
to the races?
Were there any nerves going in because you were later on the card?
No, originally I thought they said on one of the episodes of Being in the Elite, they said I was curtain jerking, so I thought it was going to be the opener of the show. I don't know if that changed or whatnot at some point, because they changed it to a street fight about a week before the show.
So when we found out it was a street fight is pretty much when you found out it was a street fight?
Yeah, they hit me up. They said, hey, we got this. They sent me a picture. We got this Cracker Barrel. We're going to change it to a Cracker Barrel Chicago street fight. So what, is it just for an excuse just to use the
barrel?
The Cracker Barrel?
Yeah. Do you think that that's what it was? They were like, well, we got this barrel. Like, we can't just leave it at ringside. What's going to be the street fight?
Yeah. I think that was probably the case, that they had this cool Cracker Barrel.
Because I feel like them making it a street fight all of a sudden puts the match completely in your wheelhouse. Like, that's kind of, in the build-up to this, really what started you making a name for yourself was the crazy stuff you were doing, right?
Yeah.
And so this is what gives you the potential to be the Joey Janela that's popped up on all the blogs and ends up going viral and stuff, right?
Yeah, it's it's definitely the match is definitely in my realm at that point.
So you were psyched when you found out it's...
Yeah, I'm psyched, but now I'm more... I like to wrestle now more, because even though I get booked all over the place every weekend, there's still people that always say, oh, Joey Janela is a guy who can only wrestle when there's chairs in the ring, when there's tables in the ring. Like, there's fans like that all over. And, the street fights, the no disqualifications, any stipulation match, that's what I grew up loving, that stuff, the craziness of the 90s and the early 2000s, the ECWs, the CCWs, the hardcore title, all that wild shit. That's what I enjoyed. And, that's what I like doing. But there is times where I like to just have an awesome wrestling match with no gimmicks, none of that. But
even just to prove to people that you can, right?
Yeah, that's what I've been doing at Evolve. I came in there, they put the belt on me in the first night, and it's just like just proving to those fans that I can actually go with the best of them. A lot of people around here in New Jersey, New York, they know the deal already. A lot of other people around the world, around United States, they only know me as the guy who fell off a roof from Danzig, as they call him. But it's just, but at All In, this was the perfect way to showcase Joey Janela to the world, was this stipulation, and it could have gone better.
Yeah, I thought it was a good mix too. Like, you didn't have to do anything like super. Like, it was like, oh, what's he gonna do? Is it gonna be crazy? It was just a good match. It was good storytelling. And then there were a couple of spots. Like, there was one moment when you took the running power bomb off the ramp. and through the table, there was this moment where you turned around and looked, and it felt real, but it also felt like something the character in that position would be doing, right? Like he was running with you, and right before you took the bump, you looked behind you, and in one way it was like, oh, you're probably sizing up like how you're gonna fall, but on your face and on your eyes, it was just like a guy going, holy shit, I'm about to get powerbombed off this ramp. So it worked, you know what I mean? It was one of those little things that it's like, it actually, for me, I think, made me buy into it more.
Yeah, that was scary as fuck. That was all my idea too, but at that point, the ref was telling us we're already going over, so it was like, you have to, it was like, shit, we have to set this up, and we have to make sure it's good to go, because with that spot, there was such little room to set up those tables.
Right.
We had to get those up, and unfortunately, I put them too far, because I probably foot of my body, probably just my head and maybe the top of my shoulders hit that table.
The second one.
Yeah, there's only one table. There was 2 tables, but I barely hit one.
Right. One you went through cleanly, and then the one next to it, I felt like you just knocked your head on it as you went down.
I think that made the spot all that much better, because it's just like, how is he living right now?
Right.
I already took a burning hammer on a ladder and a Cracker Barrel.
Oh, I do. Yeah.
And it's like, shit, what will happen next?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, that's got to be the end right there. And then, you got a big, big ending. How do you top a powerbomb off the stage? And we had to figure that out. It's just
taking that finish off the ladder at the end of the match, is that terrifying, or do you know how to kind of position yourself?
No,
because again, that's one of those moves that like you wouldn't see in WWE, because you could get paralyzed and break your neck. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, it was terrifying. Even though I also knew those tables were breaking in ridiculous ways all night. So
how so?
They were just, I'm so used to being on the shitty indie shows and getting shitty indie tables that don't break. And now I'm on a show that has a massive budget, and they can actually afford tables and not doors. So
right. They're actually getting like wrestling tables, not just a big piece of plywood.
Yeah, I tell you, in the last couple of years, most of the table spots I do, the tables don't break. Ugh. So to get actual tables that broke pretty spectacular and pretty easy was God's gift, but I'm not used to that. So
it's a luxury.
Yeah. But after that, I dropped that elbow through that table, the first table that shattered. And I was like, oh, these tables are scary.
Oh, really? So the fact that they were breaking were like, these are way worse. These are way more scary.
They weren't breaking clean in half. They were like shattering, and like,
oh, I see. So
parts were coming up. Like, one cut me. I did the elbow. One shot right into my leg.
Oh,
it was just.
So you're sitting there, you're not so much worried about breaking your neck. It is, I'm about to fall through these tables and I could get stabbed in the eyes.
One could stab me in the throat.
Right.
That was it.
And you just go, here we go.
That's it. No, I was me trusting that guy with my body.
Right.
And he was awesome.
So did you end up going over?
No.
Good.
No.
Good.
That's it.
Good. Good.
It's over.
When you first of all, who was like, I mean, and you can say as much as you want to say, but who when you were there in charge of like booking and figuring out who's going to do what and what matches, like who were the people doing that for that show?
It was really we were pretty creatively free.
Oh, really?
Yeah. There's a few agents back there.
Mm-hmm.
BJ Whitmer, an agent for Ring of Honor. I just laid out the match, me and Adam, and we just told him what we were doing, and that was it.
I guess that's the point of the show, right?
Yeah, it was just to have as much freedom and fun as you possibly can.
Yeah.
Being professional and having a great show. And I know Joey Matthews was supposed to be an agent. I don't know what happened to him. There's some reports, but there was like quite a few people. I'm sure Dreamer and Bubba Ray Dudley helped with a lot of stuff too.
But for you guys, it was BJ.
Yeah. It was just like we just went over our stuff, and that was it. Like we just told him, and that was it.
And did you talk to Cody and the Bucks coming off of your match?
Yeah, absolutely.
What was the feedback like?
It was great.
What was the feeling like before the show? Like, was it just excitement? Was it nervous? Was it, I don't know what we're about to do? Not just for you, but just in general. Like, what was the vibe like in the building?
Everyone knew it was going to be big. As soon as you got in the building, the stage was huge.
Yeah.
Yeah. An empty arena like that. Like, I've never been in a building, that big, that in a professional environment without not having to pay a ticket
Right.
be there. But yeah, you just knew it was going to be big. Just even the convention the day before,
Right.
And just the buzz around, it was like nothing I've ever experienced. And I've been around the WrestleMania weekend environment the last few years, and yeah, this was on a whole different level because I think people knew that no matter what happened that weekend, that it was history, and it hasn't been done in a very long time.
Right.
And they knew where they were getting a show. There was no way that show wasn't going to deliver.
Right.
With the people on it, there was absolutely no way that show wasn't going to deliver in some capacity.
So it's pretty much major optimism going in.
Yeah. It was awesome.
And
And everyone was so nice too.
Really?
And not stressed out.
Yeah.
I do these shows, I wrestle 2, 3, 4 times a week now, and some of these smaller shows, these guys, they stress out before these shows, sweating, yelling. It's like this show has 12,000 people there, and no one was sweating, no one was going crazy. It was very calm, relaxed. Like, you thought people would be a lot more like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering, especially for guys that, I mean, I think everybody's lucky because even though it's Cody and the Bucks and these guys, it's the first time doing pay-per-view, right? They're surrounded by Ring of Honor people who have done pay-per-view before. Cody comes from WWE. Bucks have worked, Wrestle Kingdom year after year after year after year. So it's like maybe they've never actually promoted a giant show like this themselves, but they're familiar with the environment, right?
Yeah, Cody had a lot of help too with a lot of his father's friends from the past.
Yeah.
Coming in and helping him and throughout the whole way. So, it was awesome. After his match, he jumped right on gorilla position, threw on a headset.
That's awesome.
So it was definitely legendary. It was definitely wild to be part of that.
And was it like just celebrations after the show? Was it relief? Was it exhaustion? Like what was it after the show? Because for me, I mean, as a fan watching the show, in the beginning I was like, oh, I hope this is good. You know what I mean? Because I just started to get these feelings of, it just occurred to me that it's possible that this wouldn't be good, and that would be really bad. And then once the show started, and as the show went on, I was like, this show is really, really good. This is like working. And by the end, aside from nitpicky whatever, I was like, this couldn't have gone better. This was amazing. What was the vibe like from everybody after the show was over?
Well, it was real hectic at the end of that show because pay-per-view time.
Yeah, because of the timing.
Yeah, but I think that just adds to the historicness of this show. Everyone always talks about the way Barely Legal ended. Mm-hmm. How it went off and the generator blew and whatnot.
Yeah, the building completely lost power like a minute after they were off the air.
Yeah, and they were dwindling down the time of that pay-per-view, and I feel like just even though the end didn't go the way it was supposed to, because pay-per-view money is expensive.
Right.
I feel like it just adds to what this show was and how historic it was. And it's just a few guys that never ran a large-scale pay-per-view, basically pulling off one of the greatest wrestling shows of all time. So.
And the fact that bell rang, right? Literally at the last possible minute, that bell rang. We got the ending to the last match, and it's like, we did it. 30 more seconds, and it would have been like, what the hell happened? But we got it in.
Yeah, if I was that guy doing the sign-off, I think it was Ian Riccaboni, I probably would have pissed myself. Like, all right, it's going off. You got a couple seconds to do this.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, I probably would have been pissing myself. But, yeah, those guys, to pull off that match, that main event they did, with whatever what was going on, it was just it was a really amazing match.
Yeah, I guess you forget that not only the Bucks specifically, not only are they in there worrying about their match, but this is their show. So it's not like a promoter is sitting there telling them, "Hey, come on, guys, let's wrap it up." It's like, no. They're the ones that would be telling them they got to wrap it up.
Yeah, I think it's just something that's going to be talked about
For a long time.
For a long time. You're going to see 20, 30 years from now, WWE specials come out where who knows where those guys' careers are going. Wherever everyone on that show is going different paths. I think everyone that was featured on that pay-per-view will be very successful.
Yeah,
but
me too.
I feel like 20, 30 years from now, there's going to be people talking about the way that pay-per-view went off and the way it ended, and just it was definitely crazy to be a part of something like that.
What's it like the morning after? Like to wake up and be like, it's over. It's over, but we did it.
Yeah, it was wild. I just it kind of at this point it feels like, me, like every weekend it's just like, shit, good job, you did a good job last night, or it's either fuck, I'm bummed out because my match went to shits this weekend, but
it's always on to the next one.
Yeah, it's always on to the next one. It's a job now. It's not like a hobby for me anymore. It's not like I'm doing a couple shows a month. It's a job, You have good days and you have shit days. And, we were all, there was a little after party after we went. The fans were awesome, and got some sleep and hit the convention the next day. And that was the StarCast convention itself was the most absolutely insane convention I've ever seen in my life. I know High Spots, they run the WrestleCon convention, and they used to do Wrestling Reunion, and they said that's the most money they've ever made in one weekend.
Wow.
In the history of that company.
I mean, it had to be crazy because you were just getting money handed to you.
Yeah. I know Pro Wrestling Tees made $600,000 that weekend.
That's what I read. That's insane.
Yeah, it's just
I mean, even if it was just the 10,000 people that were in that building, that means they each have to pay $60,000.
Yeah, a lot of money was.
I mean, that's no, go ahead.
A lot of money was going back into the wrestling community's pockets this weekend.
Yeah,
and it wasn't from. It wasn't from a big deal. I know WWE's had a lot of deals lately. Saudi Arabia, Fox. This money came from the fans, from their pockets, and it went back into the wrestling business that weekend, which was crazy to think about because it doesn't really happen like that anymore.
That's a good
on
point.
A major scale, like the money, it went back. It was wrestling fans spending their money.
Yeah, on wrestling. Like recirculate. It's like it's a wrestling economy.
That's it. It was like a wrestling economy.
Yeah.
Now, I was thinking about that last night.
That's a great point.
I was like, it was pretty wild because, it was just money circling in that Chicago metro area, wherever.
Yeah.
That suburban Chicago, whatever the fuck it was, where it was somewhere outside of Chicago, that there was a lot of money going around that. Illinois, somewhere in Illinois. Or I would say I fucked up at the press conference, says Illinois. And
you did say that?
Booed the fuck out of me. Yeah, there was a headline on Cage Side, whatever, that site, Cage Side Seats.
Yeah.
And it was like, Joey Janela, what is it? Joey Janela crashes all-in press conference and mispronounces Illinois. That was the headline. And then a bunch of other wrestling sites picked it up too. So it was just like, if I was vanity searching on Twitter, it was just me being a fucking idiot. But yeah, it was just.
But you know what? It's probably the best bad guy thing you could do if you're going to crash the conference and talk about how great you are and everybody else sucks. You should say Illinois.
That's it.
Like that's heat.
That's it. I mispronounce everything anyway.
Right.
But
that's the bad boy lifestyle.
That's it. So the High Spots broke a record. Pro Wrestling Tees broke a record.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that the Bucks and Cody broke. I don't know when the last time 11,000 people showed up to an indie show was.
Yeah, they broke some records. I think almost every wrestler, they've probably made more money that weekend than they've made in a long time, especially on my level. You know, just with that convention, it was just nonstop. It was insanity. I was like, what the fuck? When did I become this popular? You know? I vanity search every day on Twitter. I'm a corny mark like that, but I was like, Jesus Christ. I don't know if it was just because there's a lot of people that didn't know who I was and I was on the card. I didn't know what the ingredients were to having a response like that at a wrestling convention. But I felt pretty successful, and didn't feel like Virgil that day.
Yeah, no. I bet even Virgil could make some money at that convention.
Oh, absolutely. With the WWE Wikipedia, not Wikipedia, encyclopedia.
The WWE Wikipedia.
Yeah, with that out. Now, with the encyclopedia out, everyone makes money because everyone wants those things signed.
Right.
I was with Virgil in Wales, and we did a convention, the Wales Comic-Con. And Virgil's line was nonstop. They put him right next to Sting, and they're like, "Oh shit, Virgil's here in his NWO shirt. Just go over to sign his."
I gotta be honest. Part of me feels like if I hadn't made that Lonely Virgil website, I feel like making that Lonely Virgil website definitely increased his line.
Yeah, I think so. I think you might be, you and the Megans. You guys.
Mattel told me. The guys, Mattel made the Virgil figure that comes with the convention sign.
Oh, of course, I have it.
Bill from Mattel specifically said. Yeah, I didn't know that was your site. Of course, yeah, your site's the only reason we packaged him like that. Yeah.
The thing is, I knew even before you did that, my friend's dad was a toy collector. He collected like G.I. Joe size, Barbie doll size action figures. So he'd always go to the conventions, and always there was people there like Lou Ferrigno and William Shatner and the super mega shows and the chiller theaters.
Yeah.
So when I was like 13, 14, we'd go to those shows. And previously, like a few years earlier, I seen Virgil at a local wrestling match. He wrestled Van Hammer and Big Dick Dudley for the...
Triple threat?
Yeah, nice. for a hardcore title.
What a match.
Yeah, I wish it was on video somewhere.
One for the ages.
Yeah, it's historic. I wish it was on video. But for some reason, I was just a little... I think I was 12 years old. Walked up to Virgil and Owen, just chilling ringside, and just like talking to him, and he's like, "Hey kid, get me a soda." I got him a soda. Hey kid, get me.
That's on you, right?
Yeah. Just like, all right. So it was like, oh, that was kind of weird. So then like,
you buy him sodas.
Yeah, kid, get me a Diet Coke.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Vincent is asking me to get him a Diet Coke.
Gotta do it, right?
That's it. I had a couple crumpled up singles back then.
Gotta do it.
That's it.
Gotta open up the fanny pack, get those singles out.
That's it.
You delivering pizzas?
Yes. Not yet. I think it's just money from my uncle or my mom or something.
Right, crumple them up, put them in the tiny little fanny pack.
That's it.
We're good.
I was buying like Japanese, like FMW VHS at that time. But anyways, 2 years later,
this is a Best of Explosion Death Matches tape signed by Onita.
I probably have that.
Yeah.
As well. But a couple years later, we went to a super mega show, and as soon as we walk in the door, I'm with my two friends and his father, and we hear some guy go, "Hey, Joey." And my friend's dad, like, that strange man over there is calling you over. I look at it's fucking Virgil. I go, what? How does this guy remember me?
Yeah.
And then I walked over, and then he tried to sell me his 8x10s. And we were so confused. This is a story my friend's dad brings up, because he's gone to many of these conventions. So Virgil was quite the
fixture?
What do they call that? Folk hero.
Oh, I see. Yes, of course.
Of our teens.
Yes.
Was Virgil at these deals, and he still brings up to this day. Remember the time we walked in and Virgil knew who you were? So then we like, no, we're not going to buy shit from you, Virgil. At that time, we were a little bit older. We realized that Virgil was kind of just a jabroni, so we wanted to go buy some new, like, Ruthless Aggression, Brock Lesnar, Rob Van Dam action figures.
Yeah.
So we were going to that table. We were going trying to find those. We didn't want to fucking hang out with Virgil. So at one point, we lose our friend, Tom Doyle, who passed away a couple years ago, but he was a good friend of my childhood, one of my best friends, and we lose him at one point. We're like, where's Doyle? This is before we all had cell phones. We were kids. Where the fuck is he? Where is he? So we're leaving the convention. Like, we're looking for him. He's just sitting at Virgil's table. He was Virgil's bitch that day. Got him
Diet Cokes.
Diet Cokes, cheese fries, whatever Virgil wanted. So My life has gone full circle, and now
It's amazing.
I'm still hanging out with Virgil and buying him Diet Cokes.
Of course you are, but now it's like, I don't know. It's got to feel different now. It's got to feel like
I should make that motherfucker buy me a Diet Coke.
it's about time.
That's it, yeah.
It's about time. So have you felt, I know it's only been a few days, have you felt a difference since doing All In? I feel like certainly brought a lot of awareness to you. You know what I mean? I think certainly the most eyes you've ever been in front of. And to me, I think that pretty much on a global level, really, because as a show, like it's not WrestleMania, but it was certainly in wrestling fan communities talked about everywhere. I mean, it was the biggest thing in wrestling over the weekend, right?
Yeah, I think my girlfriend Penelope Ford, she definitely reaped the benefits from this.
Oh my God! Well, she had like one of the spots of the night.
Yeah, and she was one of the only people that was trending alone on Twitter, and we didn't realize that till a couple hours after, till we looked it up, and she was trending. Like it was like she was trending worldwide.
That's amazing.
She got like 10, 15,000 followers in the last couple days. And we realized how crazy it was because the next day we were like, we were on Instagram. She got tagged in a photo, and it was like some model from like South Korea, like wearing the top she wore, saying, Penelope Ford inspired me. It was like her and like next to a sunset with like a professional picture.
Wow.
We were like, wow, this is pretty strange. And she's with me in Evolve Beyond Wrestling and stuff, but she's really never had that breakout like I have yet, because it's hard. Wrestling promoters are fucking cheap fucks, and they don't want to spend more money on another plane ticket.
Gotcha. So they don't want to. They're like, no, if the whole act is going to cost 2 plane tickets.
Yeah, it's just they're cheap. You know, they're like, no, we can have her wrestle, but you know, just to have her come out there, they just think she's just eye candy and just comes out with me, but they never realize how beneficial she is to my entire act.
But now people are going to want to see it.
Yeah, they're gonna. I think there's a chance she's gonna get a contract before me. But it's all good because she certainly deserves it. You know, the way she looks. And she's an athlete. She was never a wrestling fan. You can ask her about what she thought of Ricky Steamboat versus Macho Man at WrestleMania, and she would have no clue what the fuck you were talking about, besides knowing who those two guys were. But
she was an athlete. She
was an athlete and got suckered into the business by professional con artist DJ Hyde, and he was just a complete, you know, like just a pervy guy and fucking complete pervert, as I say, and saw a hot blonde athlete and said, "Oh, you should sign up to my wrestling school." Even though she was just with a friend her friend was trying out for the CZW school. He was like, "Oh, you should wrestle. You would be good." She got suckered in that way. Now the rest is history.
That's where you met her, though, right?
Yeah, I met her.
So?
Through CCW.
All's well that ends well.
That's it. Maybe I should buy DJ Hyde a fucking rack of ribs.
I think so. But speaking of CCW, I mean, I was at this show where you killed wrestling, where it was Leo Rush's last match. And you guys together killed the business, I was reading.
Well, I killed the business. Leo Rush just took the blame for it. He just took a bullet for me.
What was that? It was a powerbomb off a ladder, no cell, right?
Yeah, it was originally supposed to be a package pile driver off the second rope through a table. Mm-hmm. But, of course, shitty independent wrestling get their tables from Craigslist or some shit. So we went to drag the table over to the corner, and the leg snapped.
Oh.
So I set up a ladder. I said, "Leo, you're going off the ladder through the table." He goes, "No, I'm not, motherfucker." He's punching me. We're arguing on the ladder. I said, "You're going. You're going. You're going." He's like, "No." He's like, "Hold it on." If you watch the video, he doesn't want to go at all. I just powerbomb right on his head off the ladder, and he still no-sells it. like it was supposed to be a pile driver off the second, and he no-sells that. But I was like, "You're doing it. You're doing it." So 100% my fault. He took 100% all the blame for it. But kudos to him. He didn't throw me under the bus.
Yeah.
No, look at him. He's
doing great.
He's doing great. All the heat is behind him. You know, he's killing it right now. And you know, maybe one day he'll no sell another table bump on the grandest stage of them all. You never know.
That's true.
You know, I see on YouTube every time, like I look him up. Like, I'm watching his videos, his promos on YouTube, because I don't really watch it too. I watch wrestling through social media, through GIFs and video clips and whatnot now, because I'm addicted to my cell phone. If there's a True Life episode, a new one, I'm addicted to my cell phone. I'm sure they would be first ballot for that shit.
You're like, I can't watch TV because I got my phone. I got to watch it.
That's it. I'm just always on Twitter. But I look at his promos on YouTube, and like the first comment's got like 500 likes. Why don't you go no sell a power off a ladder again, you fucktard, or something. It's just like, and he still takes the blame for it.
Oh, he's a good man for taking it.
That's it. It was all my idea. So ha 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 ha, Leo, gotcha.
Although, now, based on what you're saying, there's this, what are you going to do when, like, you're going through your WWE gifts, your NXT, your 205 Live stuff, and it's like, oh, there's Leo. Oh, Penelope Ford, now in NXT, and you're like, well.
That's it. That's how I post that picture of Dr. Manhattan from The Watchmen sitting on the moon by himself, all lonely. I post it every couple of years. A couple of years I posted, I said, this is going to be me in a few years. Little did I know that it would be the actual truth, that everyone around me would get signed.
Yeah.
And so I posted it again. I photoshopped my face on Dr. Manhattan. I said, and what's Riddle got signed?
Oh,
said,
yeah.
This is wrestling now. It's just me.
It's becoming a self-fulfilling prophecy.
So if WWE, if you want to take my girlfriend, you're gonna have to take me too, because there's no way I can live on planet Earth without her organizing my T-shirts and my money, because she's like my handler. So she's like, basically I should give her money weekly, because she's basically my real life manager.
Maybe you are giving her money weekly and don't even know.
Oh, I'm definitely giving her money.
Yeah, 20 for me. There, let me count it. 20 for me. Let me get going through the drawer, and it's like, this looks a little light, honey. No, I don't think so, Joey. I don't think so.
Yeah, it might be. I don't count it, so it could be very well the case. You can rob me, and I wouldn't even fucking know. I'd just be like, wow, I made this much? I thought I made more, but whatever.
It's a peaceful existence. You're very zen.
Yeah. So if they sign her, my life will probably be ruined.
Okay.
So.
All right, well, then I hope that doesn't happen. I hope good things happen for her and good things happen for you, but not at the expense of each other.
Yeah, I'm probably jinxing it right now. She's probably getting a call right now.
Yeah, literally the 203 number's coming up on her phone, and you're here.
That's it.
Is that still, like, where are you at? Because I think the last time we talked, you pretty obviously, you grew up a wrestling fan, WWE fan, whatever. Like, that's the goal of, I think, and most, if not all, wrestlers, that's still the spot to be. Is that still something in your head you're like, that's where I want to end up? Or are you kind of looking at wrestling now and going, let me see what's happening here. I don't know where this business is going.
As of like 3 weeks ago, I probably would have said, 2 weeks ago, I probably would have said, oh, what's your goal right now? I would have said WWE, absolutely. And if they offered me a contract, I probably would have signed absolutely, no ifs, ands, or buts, without a single thought of something else in my head. I would have signed on the dotted line with my blood.
They're like, all we can do is promise you that we'll put some money in the drawer. Yeah, fine, you got it.
That's
you got it. What's it? 50-year contract? No problem.
Yeah, I would have signed in my blood. They could have brought someone and poke my finger with a little needle, and I would have signed it. But this weekend definitely is, bringing up some other thoughts in my head. You can make money. We're in another golden era of professional wrestling.
You believe that now?
That's it.
Yeah.
We're in a golden era where, just like rap, you don't have to be signed to a label anymore to make money.
Right.
Rappers, musicians, they just release this stuff. They release their own mixtapes, and they make money.
Right.
YouTube. You don't have to pitch a TV show to a network anymore to make money. You can just put it on YouTube and you make money from that.
If it's good, you can get an audience.
That's it. Now wrestling is finally catching up to that. And you can make money as an independent contract. Well, no matter what, you're not a part of a union, or you're an independent contractor.
But as an independent wrestler.
As an independent wrestler, you can make money. If you work hard enough and build your brand.
Right.
On social media, selling T-shirts, or making my own videos with John Carlo.
Right.
Kind of raised my stock through the roof.
Oh, it definitely did. I mean, it made everybody go like, okay, like the storytelling that you and John Carlo did through those videos was like, what hooked a lot of people in the beginning, I think.
Yeah, he raised my stock completely.
Yeah. I mean, there's nobody, no, it's helpful that there's literally nobody doing videos like he does anywhere on the independents.
That's why he's the only guy. I didn't even shout out my mom or any of my friends on All In during my entrance. I shouted out him.
Yeah.
I said, "See you on the other side, Giancarlo." But it was just like, he was that detrimental to where I'm at right now. And I don't have a deal with Hot Topic yet, or I don't have Pops. But all of that is possible,
Right.
without having someone backing me, a major corporation or major money. And I think the Bucks and Cody, those guys, those guys changed the business, and kudos to them.
Do you look around and go like, okay, you've done 2 spring breaks and you did Lost in New York, right? You've done 3 shows that you've promoted as a Joey Janela show. Do you look at All In and be like, oh my God, this is what's possible? Because you do what, like 2,000? That's like the biggest show that you've done is like 2,000 people?
2,500 or
2,500 people?
which is pretty big for an
Huge.
indie show. For an indie show, it's massive.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel like my shows is also tangled in with the whole All In thing, saying these guys are also, we were all following each other on social media, like, wow, these Joey Janela shows are getting a lot of buzz.
Right.
We have this much buzz. Imagine what we can do.
But it's also great because, like, the way messages are getting across, like, being the elite is completely different from the videos that you and Giancarlo do, which are completely different from the videos that Lagana and Corgan do for the NWA. Like, they're all videos that people kind of jump on board with and watch and tell these stories, but the stories are told completely differently, and there's room for all of them.
Yeah. And now I'm kind of like making little appearances on Being the Elite. It's like it's like Scooby-Doo when they bring the fucking Harlem Globetrotters on. The worlds collide.
Yeah.
It's like 2 different camps. Like, I'm on this side of the spectrum and they're on this side of the spectrum, and now the worlds are meeting. It's like Jason versus Freddy or some shit.
Yeah.
But
do you like sit there after you've done this now and be like, okay, how do I get in front of that many people again?
yeah,
Or do you,
it was a rush. It was like now I know why these wrestlers, after their run is over, they're so fucked up.
you get it.
Yeah. Because they're doing this every week.
Right.
They're doing this 3 times a week. It was like, that was the, besides WrestleMania weekend was pretty crazy, like when fans are coming up to you, and I was at Newark Airport and fans were coming up to me and taking pictures of me, and father's like, can my son take a picture with you? Like in Newark Airport, they were going All In. And that was like, to me, that was like crazy.
Right.
It's like, this is how these guys, live. And I can go to my town the next night and go to TGI Fridays by myself.
And be that guy
Eat a
all
cheeseburger,
alone.
and people are just looking at me like, who's this fucking bum with the fanny pack over his shoulder eating a cheeseburger with sauce on his face?
Super an acid wash jeans.
Yeah. Who's this guy? This guy must be a dweeb. I was just wrestling. I was wrestling 12,000 people 2 days earlier.
Yeah.
No one knows that.
Who's the nerd with mustard on his t-shirt?
Yeah. If I was me and if I was eating at TGI Fridays in Chicago that weekend, I would have had the meal paid for, and people would have.
Of course, they would have been tipping you instead of the waitress.
That's it. They would have been tipping me, and so it's just, it was wild for sure. And I there's only one place your career can go after is up. I'm never gonna be somebody that's like some of these guys. They just one chapter ends in their wrestling career and it's over.
Right.
You're just gonna keep on going, because once you reach a certain level, I feel like, and I'm not at that level yet, not at all. I feel like the only place you can go is up. You're kind of set as long as you keep on working hard, and you never be lazy, or
You just keep building on what you've got. Just keep building on it and building on it and building on it.
Guys like John Morrison, Johnny Mundo.
Yeah.
That guy's had a career for what, 20 years now?
Yeah. With no end in sight.
That's it. He just goes to the next company, and now he works for like 3 companies.
Right. Because he just builds on it, builds on it, builds on it.
I'm sure that guy has a couple $1 million by now.
Surely.
And I'm sure once everything's said and done, he's ready to go back to WWE. They'll surely take him back. He still looks like $1 million. Mm-hmm. And I feel like guys like guys should really just like, watch a guy like he's had a career the whole time.
Yeah.
Hardy Boys, wherever they went, they had a career.
Right.
Van Damme, wherever he went, he had a career. It's just. But I think John Morrison, John Heineken is really a real prime example because, guys like Carlito and that, after WWE, where did what happened?
Yeah.
You'd see them pop up on big indie shows and whatnot and do a tour, but go back to Puerto Rico or do a little tour of Japan. But they're not working every weekend and whatnot. It's just like that guy's a prime example. Once you make it there, I feel like you can kind of play a game of chess, and as long as you never become lazy, you can always make money somehow in some way in the wrestling business.
Yeah, man. Well, I love watching the Joey Janela story unfold in front of us. I mean, you can catch Joey on the East Coast Indies when he's around, around the Jersey shows. Of course, PWG, you're becoming a regular, or have kind of become a pretty regular fixture at PWG. You got the Janela shows that pop up.
Game Changer Wrestling. They're really changing the game right now in New Jersey.
Yeah. And I mean, I heard, I wasn't able to go, but I heard such good things about the Lost in New York show.
It was wild.
Yeah.
It was certainly a wild show. And I think before All In, the numbers, they said the numbers were pretty great for Lost in New York. Mm-hmm. I'm not comparing them at all to All In because those numbers are probably astronomically insane,
right,
when it comes to buy rate. But for an small independent company from New Jersey, we did pretty well with the Lost in New York pay-per-view. But
well, let's figure out how to get some of the money from the pay-per-view so that it takes up more than a drawer.
That's it. GCW, pay me more money, motherfuckers.
That's right. It's happening. Joey, thanks for sharing all your experiences with us. Of course, your Twitter is Janela Baby, is that right?
Janela Baby. I kept it that way since the beginning.
Yeah.
We'll keep it there forever.
Janela Baby on Twitter. Keep up with Joey Janela if you can. And thanks, man.
You won't be able to. Because if you do, you'll probably have a seizure.
That's right. Thanks, man.